Welcome to the Brian Murray Show, a real estate show, New Jersey style. It's July 10th, and we're shooting the show in my office today. Again, it's summertime, but it's time to grind. So that's why I'm here in my office chair, shades closed, really ready to talk real estate. So today's discussion point is basically about reports and real estate reports, and I do a lot of reports. The biggest one I do is the yearly report that covers the 1, the 2, the 3 bedroom market, the brownstones, breaks down everything that's sold, looks at a lot of trends, a lot of historical information and forward projections. And then I do quarterlies and monthlies and that kind of thing. So I'm taking the calendar and I'm throwing it out. This is my calendar, I'm just throwing it out because over the last 6 months, first half of this year, you might as well not even include those in any historical data or extrapolate on them for what's going to happen in the future. The data that we were working with to be able to kind of understand the market is useless. It's just different. The market is different. The world is different. So I'm literally going to stop relying on some of my historical reports, and I suggest that as buyers and sellers look to the future, that they basically say, hey Brian, those are really nice reports, but what can you do for me today? And that's my goal, is to be able to provide information on what to do today based on certain other types of expertise that I do have, pulling in information from a number of different sources in a number of different sectors to see how everything is playing together in this new normal world. So today's discussion point again goes back to historical data is really not going to help very much going forward. What's great about historical data that can be applied is interest rates. That can be used to understand where we are in context of where we've been over the last 30 to 50 years and how cheap money is today. So that would be one thing that I would definitely use as a historical point. But number of contracts, price per square foot, cyclicality especially, throw that right out the window. I mean, it used to be that we would ramp up our contracts basically starting in January and ramping them all the way up and kind of peaking in June and then starting to slide right back down through the into the winter. So but that's obviously that's not today. We started off the same way in January and February and even part of March, and then everything went sideways. So in the hot topic section, we'll talk a little bit about what to do today and what to do going forward. But as far as a discussion point, it's time to take all of those historical norms and throw them out. This is Brian Murray, and this has been the discussion point. This is Brian Murray, and today's hot topic is, where do we go from here? July 10th, things have changed. New York has started to reopen. We've had the 4th of July break. So really, where do we go from here? Well, let's talk about a little bit about where we were. Market really started to open up here in New Jersey second half of June. For instance, Hoboken had 66 contracts written in the last 2 weeks of June. That's a lot of contracts. An average peak month might be 100 total. That would be like a May or a June in a strong year. So the fact that we had 66 in 2 weeks really extrapolates into a pent-up demand. So now here we are 10 days into July, so a third of the way through July, and that included July 4th, on a weekend. So you could pretty much take out 3 or 4 days there where nothing was getting done. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, people aren't looking at homes, people aren't writing contracts, attorneys aren't working, realtors aren't working, buyers aren't working, sellers aren't working. So really, where does that leave us? So it leaves us with 20 contracts for the first 10 days of July. And if you think about it, it's not really that bad. It's about 3 a working day. That would translate into about 90 for the month. Now, I really expect that we're going to see a significant push in the number of contracts in the coming 3 to 4 weeks. So once the New York buyer is more comfortable coming over, the ferries are now running during the weekdays. You know, they're allowed to move. They're getting out a little bit more in Manhattan, and they provide us with a lot of new buyers into, especially the one bedrooms and the waterfront homes and the starter 2 bedroom homes. That's really where you get your primary New York buyers in that. Whereas some of your 3 bedroom homes and your move up homes, those typically are people who have come here, settled here into one of the properties that I just mentioned, and now are moving up into a larger 2 bedroom or a 3 bedroom home. So we're kind of missing a little bit of that buyer pool right now. In the next 3 to 4 weeks, it will tell us whether, hey, the market is really coming back because of the delay, or there's a fundamental shift in what we're doing. And as I mentioned in the last episode, Manhattanites, they look at Hoboken and Jersey City, the waterfront, as the suburbs. If you don't have a family already and you live in Manhattan and you just want to get out for all the reasons that you want to get out, the first stop you're going to make is a Hoboken and Jersey City, a Weehawken, somewhere that seems like the suburbs to you. So today's hot topic is really, where do we go from here? Homes are still getting sold. That's the good news. We're still waiting to see what's going to happen in terms of overall volume as we go forward. This is Brian Murray with today's hot topic. The good, the bad, the ugly, better known as good, better, best in these times where we need some positivity. So the good, believe it or not, is traffic. Car traffic is up. It's not like it was during the shutdown where I could zip up to Bergen County in 15 minutes and back, get over to Jersey City in 10 minutes and back, get downtown from uptown in Hoboken in 10 minutes or back. It is much more of starting to become normal traffic. So people are out getting to their jobs. Even for the summertime, I think the traffic is more than it is in a typical summer here. So believe it or not, it's good. I'm looking for the silver lining while I'm sitting there in my car waiting in slow moving traffic. Better, the outdoor dining seems to be working really well, for a lot of the restaurants. Now hopefully the weather stays cool, the weather stays dry, and they figure out some other ways so that when the weather does change that they can still be in business. But it definitely seems to be that people are taking advantages and supporting their local small businesses. And the best is, a shout out to the folks at Tutta Pesca, Pesca, I don't know, Italian, Tutta Pesca, that they were closed over there on 3rd Street. It looks like the same ownership group is opening back up on 1st Street. Probably it's going to take them a year to do that with all the zoning and approvals they're going to need. But great restaurant, great atmosphere, great need in the city for something that's a little bit different. So it's good to see a restaurant that's not just closing their doors, but that's looking to expand and grow, especially during these times. And that's really the best thing that can happen, is the growth and expansion of small businesses. I know the owners there. They live in Hoboken. Really great people, and couldn't be happier for them. Today's quote is fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And if you keep that in mind while you're looking at the news or the fake news or the sort of quasi-fake news, depending on what your point of view is, that there's a lot of news on every side that's coming out pushing fear. Let's not let the fear overwhelm us. It causes us anxiety in a time where we just don't need it. I hope for everyone that you stay positive and you realize that this is just a bump in the road. So that's my wish for everyone this week. This has been The Brian Murray Show. Thank you so much for watching. As always, every episode of The Brian Murray Show is available on my website, on my blog, on my website, so please do check them out. I love your comments and your questions on Instagram, on Facebook, so definitely leave them. And as always, if you have any things that you disagree with in this particular show, reach out to me directly, and I'll show you why you're wrong.